Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Redux What Ifs. And today, after watching like a 10-minute recap and watching Invincible season 2 like over and over, I still don't get it, but at the same time I do. But, that's besides the point. We gonna get into this what if. It's gonna be what if Superman was an Invincible season 2 part 1, probably like an hour special. Now you probably might hear some shit in the background because I'm low-key at like my trade school right now at the moment, and yeah, since I'm on break, I was like, maybe this is probably the best time to do this shit. But yeah, hope y'all enjoy this what if, man. I appreciate y'all for 85 subs, bro. We literally like 20 subs away from 100, bro. Like, honestly, at this point, this not even my channel no more. This y'all channel. This is everybody's shit, man. Everybody plays a crucial part in this. Y'all like what I'm doing, and I'm just gonna try my best to keep giving what y'all want. So without any further ado, let's get into the what if.
Bang, rock ain't fall. I've been sitting around. Been in touch, working like a pro. Chill like a little.
Now, if you remember where we left off at, right? Basically, Clark and Mark were fighting Omni-Man after the whole thing has been revealed that Omni-Man was a Viltrumite, right? And he was there to basically take over the Earth, but Mark basically fought him off along with Clark. And, after what Mark said to Omni-Man, Omni-Man flies off into space with Mark basically knocking out and Clark, carrying Mark back to, the GDA so he could get his injuries healed, right? So that's where we basically left off in season 1. Before we dive into season 2, let's redact some things. So, let's see. Suit-wise. So Clark will have his custom suit, right? Since I did the poll on it, right? I'm gonna go with the custom threads since the custom threads got the most votes. And I will put a picture of it, or I can just like paint a picture. So it's gonna be let's just think of the inverted what is it? Not the inverted. So basically it's gonna be like the Young Justice suit, right? All white with the red symbol, but instead of it all white, it's black, right? It's black with the red symbol, and then he got the white cape. So it's kind of like custom, but with like alternate universe colors. So that's the suit that Jor-El will be making. And then once we get into season 3, it'll be like a special a rite of passage of a Kryptonian, like a trial suit, right? So when we get into season 3, that's when he'll get the black, the white black suit, right? So, we're gonna say that, according to canon, it's been 6 months ever since, Omni-Man revealed to the world what he did, right? And, during those 6 months, Mark's just been focused on high school. He graduated, and now he's in college. So he graduates along with Clark and Eve and everybody else, along with Amber, too. So after they graduate, they go into high school, and not high school, my bad, I'm tripping. They go to college. Clark and Mark goes to, college with Clark majoring in like astrology and, like being a space engineer, while his minor is going to be like automotives. Just a backup plan if things doesn't work out with that side, right? And so while doing that, right, he begins to think about like, how he's been, hanging out with Eve a lot more than usual. And, he doesn't see it as like, oh shit, maybe I like her type thing, right? Because, they're really good friends, they both share some secrets, and, they both are like, they're both like very platonic with each other, to the point people would think that they are dating, foreshadowing, if you know what I mean. So, after that, after, their first day of college, we're going to say that Eve and Clark basically have the same schedule with 2 classes being different. And with those classes being different, that's when Mark has the same classes as Clark, right? So after the first day of their college day, orientation day, getting to know their teachers, professors, and stuff, that's when Mark gets a call that there's some monsters going around in the city, and that they need Invincible. And then that's where we cut to Mark going to the bathroom, changing into his suit, flying off, and the title screen, Invincible, right? So after that, right, after Mark flies off, we cut to like as Mark is flying off, and let's say he passes the camera, right, we transition into an alternate timeline, right? We're gonna do alternate timeline, right? In this timeline, right, Mark is evil Mark, right? So we see this Mark fighting Immortal Man, right? And so Mark and Immortal Man are fighting, which leads to some viewers saying, "Oh, why are Mark and Immortal Man fighting?" And Immortal Man says, that after what they both did to him and did to this world, he would have expected better from them. But Mark is being very playful and nonchalant about it, talking about, "Oh, I've been hit like way harder than this. You gotta put a little elbow grease into it." And then that's when Immortal Man gives him the meanest right hook to the face, and then he grabs Mark by the leg and then throws him down. But then Mark catches himself and then basically puts his hand through through Immortal Man's chest. And then that's when Omni-Man comes down, saying, which leads to Immortal Man saying, you're the one who did this." And then that's when Omni-Man says, "Me, you're right, I did do this, and I'm going to do this also." And he takes his hand, put it in like a karate chop motion, and then just slices his head clean off, which Mark catches, and then basically pushes it together and squishes his head, basically effectively killing Immortal Man. And then that's when they look over the city, and the city is still like built, because they refuse to go to that part of the city. Is basically like they couldn't take it all the way over, and the Viltrum Empire is coming, so they can't take it all the way over, because Clark in that universe, even though Mark turned out bad, they tried to take over the world, Clark is still there to stop them, right? But today is the day where they synthetically crafted something to get rid of Clark's powers permanently, which is, if y'all ever read DC Comics, well, for Smallville version, it's basically it's basically blue kryptonite. But since we're going by comics, right, in the comics, like if they are exposed to like gold kryptonite, it basically like it basically makes them permanent. But if it's like, if you like stab them with it, it will like, or like attempt to like kill somebody, a Kryptonian, with it, it will permanently take their powers away. So like, let's say like if they have it like in their hand, or use it as like a brass knuckles while fighting Clark, his powers will be temporarily gone. But if they like stab him with it, his powers will be permanently gone. So that's what gold kryptonite does. And since this is a different universe, they have access to Brainiac, since they also know who Zod is. And since in this timeline, Zod and the Viltrumite, Zod's Kryptonians that he leads and the Viltrumites are like hand in hand. So Zod's made like a Brainiac program for the Viltrumites to stop the last resisting son of Krypton in that timeline, well, in that dimension, right? And so they say today's finally the day where they take down their biggest adversary and the greatest threat to them, which is Clark. So after so basically they started like basically rallying around Superman, because even though they did take over some parts, it's basically Superman that's still stopping them from, having the whole world be theirs and have somewhat of a normal society, even though Clark is being burnt out, even though he's like tired. Well, he really doesn't get tired since he has the sun, but yeah, you know what I mean. So basically, after that, they get the golden knife ready, right? And so that's when they started attacking the city. And before Mark can kill a random civilian, that's when Clark blitzes in and then punches Mark through the building as Mark was like groggily laying there, rubbing his jaw. It was like, oh, now that hits like a truck. Probably hits harder than Omni-Man, with Clark saying, "I won't let you destroy this town." He was like, "Better yet, I won't let you destroy the world and take it over." He said, you could have been a hero. You could have helped. Why would you turn evil? Why would you turn your face against justice? What makes it right for you to decide who lives and dies like this? And that's when Mark said, "Simple, because I am unstoppable, invincible, like." And then that's when he said, "You know what? I like that name. I'm invincible." He said, "And today you're gonna meet the day. This is gonna be your death day. So if you want to do anything now, you better make sure you can kill me." And then that's when they both, run into each other as they clash fists. The whole city just, there's like a huge sonic shockwave that spreads to the city. And since Clark doesn't want the city to face more damage than it already has, he basically punches Mark out the city, as that's when Omni-Man follows and then jumps Clark as he comes tackling Clark down into a force. And then that's when Omni-Man was like, "You could have joined us." He said Zod would have been proud of you as a leader. He said, as a general leader myself, I would have been more proud of you if you were my son. And then that's when Clark said, "That's the thing. I'm not you, and I would never be your son. Even if we were born by blood, I will always be different from you guys." He was like, "And I won't let you," he said, "I won't let you, take over this world, not for them or the Viltrumite Empire or Zod, even if it costs him his life." And then that's when Omni-Man said, "I'm glad you chose that, because death for you won't be an option. You will die today." And so they begin to fight. Omni-Man tries to speed blitz Clark, but as a full-grown, full-fledged Kryptonian Superman warrior that he is, he's not gonna, get there. Even though his experience does gap Superman, even in this timeline, his power set is still better than Omni-Man's. So he dodges Omni-Man and he tries to sidestep uppercut, but Omni-Man blocks it. And then that's when Omni-Man, uses his leg to kick Clark, and he flies, but he catches himself. And then that's when he flies up into the air. And then that's when Mark tries to shoot down towards Clark, but then that's when Clark takes a deep breath and blows his cryogenic beam, his freeze breath, as we call it, the cryogenic beam that he shoots. Since I don't want it to be just like frozen breath, that shit needs to look cool as shit and epic as fuck. So it's like a cryogenic beam that he shoots out of his mouth. So he shoots Mark with it, and that's when Mark's chest gets frozen over. And then that's when Clark punches him, shattering the ice. And then he grabs he grabs Mark by the throat, and then he he shoots down towards the earth, going basically making a huge crater with that, which water starts falling in, since they landed by a nearby body of water, a huge body of water. And then that's when Omni-Man tries to come crashing down, but then that's when time slowed down. And then that's when Clark was able to get out the way, but then Omni-Man followed, and Omni-Man started throwing haymakers left, right, which Clark just, slipping and dodging. And then that's when Clark uses Omni-Man's momentum. He grabs his arm and then throws him across the water, which skids, and then he just, he throws him across the water, which um which Mark tries to put Superman in a full Nelson, and then that's when Mark says, "I got him, do it now," and then that's when Omni-Man takes the dagger out, right, and then that's when my bad, that's when he flies towards Clark, and then as Clark slows his perception since he's about using his speed, he sees what it is, and then that's when he was like, whatever that is, I need to get away from it now. And so that's when he throws Mark over his head, right? He throws Mark over his head, which Omni-Man is about to stab Clark, but he throws Mark over his head, which makes Omni-Man stab Mark, as that's when Superman, bolts off and flies off, which both of them are, going after him, as Clark is basically like a high-speed flying chase, right? Which both of them are speeding up. And so, Clark flies into the air, and then he goes, let's say he goes north. They both go north, and then they both started following him, right? They follow him, and they start flying through the city, which, the debris everywhere, flames everywhere, just it's basically like a broken down city, like a war-torn city, right? So they start flying through the city. That's when Mark goes the other way and tries to cut he tries to cut Clark off, but Clark just plows through. He doesn't kill Mark because he's holding back, but even when he's holding back, he's still strong as shit. So he does that the iconic Superman punch thing, where where you're flying where he just punch you one good time, and then he does the iconic Superman punch thing, where he's basically punching the dog shit out of Mark. And he's going to do it to Omni-Man too in a second. But, let me cook with this fighting sequence scene, right? So Mark tries to cut him off, but Superman's not having it. His eyes glow red, trying to muster all the strength. And then as he clocks the shit out of Mark, he flies through the building. And then, Superman's not stopping. He boom, boom, boom. Every hit, sonic waves, sonic punches. That's all you hear and see. Just boom, boom, boom. And then as Mark flies out through the building, right, that's when Clark grabs Mark by his leg and then swings him over, like spins him, like call back to Man of Steel when Zod grabbed Clark by his cape and swung him through all those buildings. That's exactly how exactly how Clark did Mark, right? And so he swung him through all those buildings to get Mark off his back, to temporarily stall him and hurt him, right? So after that, that's when Omni-Man comes in, and then Nix, he dodges it in the nick of time, but he cuts Clark, which Clark drops all of a sudden, he drops from it. He drops, and then he caught himself with flying as he tried to use his laser vision, but his laser vision wasn't working. And then that's when Clark realized that type of kryptonite can, take away my powers, and depending how much he gets cut by it, he can be, the sun can repair it, but if it's like exposed for it for too long, yeah, the sun can't help. So he'll just be a normal human, or not a normal human, but a Kryptonian without powers, right? And so that's when Clark said he really needs to, bolt out of here. So he just flies away, and all he has left is just his cryo, his freeze breath, flight, speed, and durability, even though his durability has been weakened by the kryptonite. So, he's running away, and then that's when Mark comes through and tackles him on the floor, as that's when Mark had an extra one, and then he stabs Clark in the side, right, as Clark screamed out in pain as he grabbed Mark by the evil Mark by his face and then just slammed it in the ground, right? And then that's when That's when he took the knife out, and then flight was gone. His flight is gone, and now all he has is a super speed. So he's in this Smallville era right now. So he just bolts out of there running as fast as he can. Omni-Man tries to come back for more, taking away more of his powers, but he dodges him. He's just speeding around the city, speeding around, trying to like lose him and stuff. And then he goes outside the city, and then that's when he stops for a minute to see how he's bleeding and is slowly healing. And then that's when they both land next to Clark, and they're like, you can't keep fighting this, just give up. And then he said, remember what I said, I will keep fighting until I die, or until my powers get taken. I will not give up on this earth, this world, or anybody that believes in me. He said, I refuse to be like you, even in death. And then that's when Mark stopped holding back. He stopped holding back and said, so be it. So that's when he stabs Clark again. Clark gets caught off guard by Omni-Man with the hold. And then that's when Mark, being sadistic, he carves his House of L symbol on his chest, as every cut was taking away his powers. And so that's when after that they just stabbed him in the center of it, right? And Clark's still alive, because even though it's draining his powers, it's still trying to kind of counteract the effects of it. But yeah, so after that they grab him by his his ripped cape. That's when they take him back to the city, and they announce everything to the world, basically saying that, your savior is no more, right? Your savior is gone. We defeated him. Now submit to the Viltrum Empire. And then using the last of his strength, right? Using the last of his strength. He didn't want to do it, but that's when Superman took the last of his strength, and like I'm telling you, he reverse flashed it. He reverse flashed Omni-Man right where he stood, grabbing him by his shit, right? Grabbing him by his cape, right? That's when Clark used the last of his powers that he had and straight put his hand through Omni-Man's chest, like trying to rupture his shit. And that gravely injured Omni-Man, but he was still able to like sort of walk it off, but he was gravely injured by that. And then that's when he let Clark go, and he was like, you never killed. And he said, and then that's when Clark said, you be surprised what one would do to protect the people of this world. And then that's when he faints and falls, and he crash lands. And then that's when Mark grabs Omni-Man, and they fly away with Clark going back underground with the other resistance, as Adam Eve is very distraught to see Clark like this, because she, even though she knows like the makeup for kryptonite, she would never use it unless it was like mind control that he couldn't break out of. That's probably like the only time she would ever use it. But since this is like the alternate timeline we talking about, she's like trying her best to heal Clark and stuff, and she's seeing that his cells are not retaining the sun UV light, so they must have figured out a way to take away his powers. And so after that, Clark is like in a critical condition. And then as the monitor beeps for Clark, we see Clark in the other room, like the main timeline Clark, and he in a good Invincible universe with Clark just looking at Martha, because during those 6 months, Martha has come down with a sickness that she's slowly dying, and she doesn't want Clark to worry about it, so she's just resting. It's not it's like a stage 3, but she said she wants to be able to, as long as she gets to see Clark graduate from college, then her life is complete. She said that Jonathan couldn't be here, but she basically explains to Clark that she lives for both her and Jonathan, since Jonathan is in her heart and stuff. And they both have a heart to heart, saying that that the weight, he feels like the weight of his world is on his shoulders, and that something big is coming, and he doesn't know if he's ready to stop it. And then that's when Martha basically tells Clark to don't worry about what the future holds, just focus on the present, and everything will work out in itself. And so that's when after that, he takes the words of advice of Martha, and then he goes, he said he's gonna go to this fortress and see what's going on over there. And then that's when Martha says, make sure you get there safely, and don't fly too recklessly. And then that's when Clark said he won't. He'll just get there how he usually gets there. And then that's when Clark takes off, right? Blitzes out of there, takes off, and on his flight pattern, he takes Eve comes out of nowhere since she's flying. And then that's when Clark was like, Eve, it's weird to see you here. You never usually fly around here. Everything okay? And then she just tells him that her and Rex went through a bad breakup, and she just needed some space away and somebody to talk to about it. And since Clark is that guy, he tells her that she could tag along with him. He's just going to the somewhere that he's never shown anybody, not even Mark or Omni-Man, or like nobody. She's the first person to see the Fortress of Solitude. And so that's when he said, last one there, owe somebody a favor or something like that. And so they both take off. Superman lets Eve win to make her feel better. And then that's when as they land through the fortress, right, that's when she says that since she won, he has to do something for her. And then that's when Clark was like, okay, what do you have in mind? He was like, and that's what she said, it will ruin the surprise if I tell you now. He said, just remember when I asked for an IOU, just be ready for it. And that's when he was like, all right, cool. And so, after that, he takes her to the fortress. He basically shows her around the fortress, the archives of the Kryptonians, the knowledge that they obtained, and what he has, different types of elements that she never thought were real. And, she's just having a festival in there because, she likes science. She's heavily into science and stuff. They both have the same interests. And so, for her, on the emotional side, being with somebody that have the same interests as you, as good of a guy Clark is, he putting on that game unknowingly, like he putting that shit down. At this point, she ready to get the back shots from the last son of Krypton. she ready to get them Kryptonian back shots, man. Bro, I'm such a clown, bro. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just refreshing to be with somebody, for her to be with somebody that cares, that look good, that has the same interests in her. And so she's just having a field day with that, right? And so he takes her around the fortress. He shows her everything. He even, gives her like a crystal, for emergency purposes, just in case if something may happen to him, or his powers may get taken one day, or just something. He said, you'll know what to do with this better than anybody, so just keep it safe. And she said she will. And then that's when he takes her to like his back computer, or basically like his holographic computer, where he looks at news outlets and everything, right? And so as that's happening, we're going to take Levi, we're going to fade to Levi Anstrom, or cut to him, right, where in the main timeline he has the power to he has the power to open to different dimensions and different universes, I believe, right? And so, but yeah, basically different dimensions. I don't think he's like a universal level threat, but yeah, I digress. Yeah, because that scaling is weird. Anyway, he has the power to open to different dimensions, and he's been recruiting himself, every different dimension version of himself, to create a better technology and everything, right? And so before he could do this, he needed help from the Mauler twins, which is always breaking out of prison for some reason. I just never understood that. Like, always breaking out, right? Always breaking out, right? And so, the Mauler twins help him achieve what he wanted to do, to make a machine where he could absorb all the knowledge from his alternate selves, so he can make every dimension that they live in, and this one, like a paradise, a safe, sound paradise with, better technology and everything. And so, so after he got everything together, right, he was ready to start, doing the transference, but then that's when Cecile ordered Mark to stop the whole project that he was doing. And that's when we also noticed that Mark was doing plenty of like missions for Cecile to try to like prove to himself and to Cecile that he's not like Omni-Man. And so with that being said, Mark fights different versions of the Mauler twins and almost gets killed, getting a beat down as usual. I don't know, man. Mark, it just seems like Mark can't just beat down allegations, but I'm gonna try to make him somewhat of a worthy opponent, in this season 2 and season 3, because he just not cutting it, man. He always getting his ass whooped, man. Sad to say, but it's true. So, after he was, getting demolished by different alternate versions of the Mauler twins, Levi wanted to save him because he didn't want, he wanted them to like stop Mark but not kill him, because he doesn't want their hero to be killed. And so he does exactly what the Mauler twins told him not to do. He takes off the helmet, and a huge explosion happens, which which ripples, that sends ripples through like time streams, right? So, it was like a huge, citywide, explosion, right? And then that's when, like a huge explosion happened, right? And then there was like this little like pocket dimensional energy that was like sitting in the center and shot out to space, right? And it just like made a huge crack in like an unknown area, right? Pay attention to that, because that part is important, right? And so that's when after the explosion subsides, and it was like a huge explosion, the only survivor was Armstrong, I think like Levi, right? He was like deformed, and now his back was like all deformed now. And since the process of transference with knowledge wasn't complete, he had he remembers different dimensions and everything, where basically every version of Mark, which is evil, killed this family and destroyed the world. So now he wanted to kill Mark, right? And so the only survivors were him, Mark, and the main Mauler twin, right? The original Mauler twin, right? And so after what Levi is experiencing, he portals somewhere. I don't know where he portals to, but he portals somewhere, right? And so after he portals there, we cut back to it was basically we cut back to the fortress, right? The sun was setting. They basically had like an unknown date, Clark and Eve. So while Clark macking and shit, getting his game, Mark over there fighting for his life in the city, which Superman does his part, but at the same time he understands that it's basically Mark's city, since Mark was there before him, and Eve and stuff. So he just helps out when he can, with the since he still does training in the fortress, trying to understand each race and what they have to offer and what's this and that and stuff, so he doesn't like get caught off guard with anything, just in case. And so after they had their their date in there, Eve tells Clark that she really appreciates him as a friend, and during this tough time, Rex didn't do all the things that she wanted to, even the bare minimum, but she just appreciate Clark for being genuine about everything. And Clark, he scratches the back of his head, saying that, it's really nothing, it was just, his dad taught him how to just, please a woman. And then that's when Eve says, you really do know how to. And so they hug, and then that's when Eve gives him a kiss on the cheek, telling him thank you for today. And, she'll see him whenever she sees him, and she flies off, which after she flies off, that's when Clark started, running in the fortress, talking about, woo-hoo, talking about, oh, yeah. And then that's when Jor-El hops on a hologram saying, what is the joyous occasion, my son? Your heart rate has spiked significantly. You are feeling extremely happy and in love. He was like, in love, Dad? No. But, there is a girl out there that, I just hung out and showed her around. And, I think she really appreciates me. And I really appreciate her. She just gave me a kiss on the cheek. I don't know what that means, but, I'm just really appreciating and happy. And he was like, you've done well, my son. So just continue to do what you need to do. And it's time for you to come, and it's time for you to, take your next level to training. And then that's when he said, what do you mean by that? He said that he needs him to step in this, center right here. And then that's when he freezes Clark's body, right? Hey, let me cook with this part. This is where Clark gets his suit, right? This is where Clark gets the new threads, And since y'all voted for which one y'all wanted, I already told y'all what the suit was going to be. So just imagine the suit. If I could find a picture of it, I will find a picture of it. But if I have to Photoshop and change the color and make the suit myself, I will do that. So, you might see two pictures or one. If it's the first one, I already found it. But if it's the second one, it's the first and the second one, give y'all a concept of the imagination, right? So as Jor-El was damn, that truck was loud as fuck. Anyway, as Jor-El was basically, doing in simulation training with Clark frozen in his fortress, right? The suit was slowly integrating with Clark, his suit was slowly integrating with him. You got the the suit was about to look fresh when he comes out, right? And so, after he gets frozen, we do flashback to Robot and Monster Girl, as Robot has a new body now, but he's very ineffective with missions because he's starting to feel fear for the first time. As when he was a robot, he didn't have to worry about that. He was just always on go. But since he has a body and life now, he starts feeling fear, which makes Cecile hesitant about him being the Guardians of the Globe leader, since he's being so hesitant. And since Immortal Man is back somehow, or maybe I missed that, how he came back. He makes Immortal Man a new Guardians of the Globe with Bulletproof. I think Bulletproof. We're still gonna have the same people from for the originals in season 1, with just Immortal Man, Monster Girl, Bulletproof, and Shape Man, I think. But Shape Man is a Martian, which Cecile already knew, right? And so, after we got the new leader of the Guardians of the Globe, right? After the new leader has been established, take a look back at that rip in space, as it's far away from, Earth. It was like damn near at the edge of the Milky Way, right? So the rip opens and a Kryptonian spaceship flies out the rift as it's heading, as it crash lands near, basically we're going to say that it crash lands near a planet that has nothing but animals on it, like alienatic animals. And that ship crash lands on that planet, right? And so, after the smoke clears and the explosion clears, the space pod opens up, and it is revealed to be no other than Supergirl, which she's already older. She's just as, she's Clark's age, basically, right? She's basically Clark's age. And with that being said, she looks at, you know, her holographic image of Clark, as she still thinks that, you know, Clark is a baby, since they both got sent, you know, off of Krypton the same time. But Kara's ship went into the Phantom Zone, right? It got knocked off course and it went into the Phantom Zone. And since that explosion happened, it temporarily ripped open this Phantom Zone, right? And so Kara was able to get out the Phantom Zone, but there was other things that got out the Phantom Zone too, which leads into so many other possibilities for these next what if ideas that I got coming up, right? But, you know, she crash lands and she says she's gonna do anything, you know, to find Cal, right? So, you know, she has her powers, but since she feels weakened, she's gonna, you know, use the last of her ship's energy to go into like a sunbathing state, like a cryogenic sunbathing state, to get all the energy from the yellow sun that, you know, the ship has been engineered to do, right? Hold on, let me get a water break real quick. My throat drying up. Hold on. Woo! Oh man, that cold water hit, man. That cold water hit something. But yes, as I was saying, she stays on the planet. She goes back into the ship to, like, you know, drain all the excess solar energy, the yellow sunlight there was in. And so she begins to basically just like soak it all in, right? So Supergirl is in the Invincible universe now. She's there, but she's not on Earth yet, right? And so, yeah, so since she's not on Earth, this basically is just like a canon and a filler at the same time, really. So it's basically not nothing too much going on. So yeah, we will get into the nitty gritty and the action and shit. But yeah, there's really nothing really going on episode 1. That's pretty much it. You know, Mark goes on the mission. He goes on a mission. He goes to Atlantis, and you know what? For the fuck of it, we're just gonna say that you know, we're gonna time skip, you know, a few days. He goes on a mission to Atlantis, and Clark tags along, and you know, he has like a rebreather on, since obviously he can't breathe underwater. I mean, Clark could hold his breath for a long time, but yeah, he has like a rebreather, and you know, they both end up fighting like this creature that releases like sonic waves, like as a scream attack. But instead of like the frequency that it made, it hurt, it like weakened it weakened Mark. So Superman is fine. Like, it hurts his ears, but he's fine. Like, he's fine. He's tanking that. It's like a sonic attack. Like, it pushes him back a little, and he like winces at the, you know, the scream because it hurts his ears. But Mark is over there like going through it, and then that's when Clark took notice that, you know, the sound that it's making, or whatever frequency is screaming on, is weakening him. So that's when Clark, you know, blitzed through the water and just like punched the dog shit out the monster. And then he used his laser vision, boiling up the water nearby as he shot it down towards the ground, right? And then that's when Clark, you know, basically punches it and wrestles it to the ground. And then that's when the monster grabbed Clark, and then you know, it's trying to like hold him in, and Clark's like trying to break out of it. And then that's when Clark said, you know what, instead of trying to fight back, I'll just freeze you. And so that's when Clark used the cryo beam, and he just so like when Clark uses his like freeze breath, it's like a whistle, like a loud, you know, force induction whistle. Like if y'all need, like, if y'all car guys, think of it like a turbo, like a that's how it sounds. Like, it sounds like a car turbo, basically. So when he uses his freeze breath, it's like a cryogenic beam that sounds like a turbo, basically. So he freezes the shit out this monster. Like, it's done. Like it's forever frozen, unless you just like break it. But I don't think they're gonna want to break it. So Yeah. So, after they defeat the monster, that's when him and Clark, fly out the water. The mission's complete. They report to Cecile, and then that's when Clark Mark told Clark that he had a transmission that was going on in space, that he needs to go to a planet that's dying, and he has 42 billion people there, and all their lives are at stake. And then that's when he said he doesn't know who he's gonna fill in his place when he leaves, because he has to do stuff, and protect people. And then that's when Clark said, you know what, don't worry about it, I can handle it for you. And so he said, do what you need to do, go in space and save those people. I can handle things from here, trust me, you know that. And so that's when they both dap up, and and they say, that's when Mark says thank you. And then that's when Clark says no problem, and he goes back into the room. And then that's when Clark sits down, and he says, Cecile, he said, I know you don't want Mark going to space to help those people, but I can't let him ignore it. And then that's when Cecile replies, what do you mean by that? What are you trying to play out? He was like, I'm not gonna let Mark ignore people that needs him. And then that's when Clark said, in other words, I want to join the Guardians of the Globe while Mark is away handling what he has to do. He was like, I will take Mark's missions, I will do all the things that I need to do, but after Mark comes back, then Mark could come back, and I'll be a reserve member of the GD of the Guardians of the Globe. He was like, and then that's when Cecile said, how can we trust you? When will you become an official, member of the Guardians of the Globe? He was like, in due time, Cecile. He was like, don't rush the process, just let me work up to it. He was like, I haven't failed you before, when the invasion happened, when Omni-Man happened, and I'm not gonna fail this world or you, or anyone that believes in me now. He was like, but if you need anything, you can reach me. He said, you can reach me on my cell phone. He said, that's when Cecile said, you have 2 cell phones? He was like, I have a personal life. I don't want my personal getting in between my heroic duties, even though that's kind of unavoidable. I have to be professional somehow. He was like, I'm going to college for sakes, man. Like, I don't want my phone ringing in class. He was like, but then he said, but then again, I do have super hearing, so I'll probably be able to hear what you need, and I'll be there. He was like, and that's when Cecile was like, kind of taken aback by it. He was like, oh, okay. And then that's when he basically said, okay, welcome to the team. He was like, I'm pretty sure you know who everybody is. He was like, but the only thing that has changed is that Robot is no longer the leader. And then that what leads to Clark asking what happened. And then that's when Cecile didn't feel the need to hide it from Clark, since he wants to gain Clark's trust, since he wants to know who Clark really is, even though he's low-key building weaknesses against Clark. So if he would ever to turn his face to turn away from justice, he doesn't want another Omni-Man situation. And since that happened, even though he's starting to develop maybe a Viltrumite weakness, he doesn't know Kryptonian weakness. For all he knows, maybe Kryptonians don't have a weakness, and he could just do whatever he wants, even a full-fledged able Viltrumite won't be able to stop him. So that's when he tells Clark that Robot has a body, but ever since Robot had a body, he hasn't been performing well on missions, leaving the team in jeopardizing positions, and barely completing the missions without somebody getting killed, right? And so that's when Clark says that he understands that. And so he said, yeah, so since Robot is out, he'll be like the co-captain, basically, like the co-leaders, just in case of Immortal Man's out on something. Clark will be the next in line to take charge of the team. And so with that being said, that's when Clark nods, and he's like, okay, I understand what I need to do. He was like, I'm about to head to the Guardians of the Globe base right now. And then that's when he says, I'll meet you there. And then that's when Cecile teleports. And then that's when Clark flies off to the base, right? And so, he gets to the base. He says that, he introduces himself. This is Immortal Man's first time meeting Clark, as he didn't take too kindly to Clark because, he resembled fucking Omni-Man and Invincible in a way. He has a heavy disdain for Viltrumites and Omni-Man now, which indirectly causes him to hate, or not hate, but really dislike Mark and Clark. Now that's out the way, Cecile, does the thing that he does in canon, which he starts grilling the Guardians of the Globe, the new Guardians of the Globe, and how, they have piss poor planning and teamwork because, they can't stop a simple criminal without them causing massive damage. As you saw, they blew a fucking hole in a freaking city that one time. And while he's going over that, he said that, since, Immortal Man is back, he's going to be leading the new Guardians of the Globe and learn actually some teamwork and leadership skills. While if Immortal Man steps out, Clark will be the next in line. And at first, Immortal Man, not at first, but Immortal Man disagrees to this because he thinks that, Clark is just like Omni-Man and shit, which Clark tells him real quick that, he understands his disdain for Omni-Man and what he did, but he could guarantee you that Mark isn't like Omni-Man, and he never will be, and he's proved it even going to battle against Omni-Man to prove that he's not like him, and that he doesn't appreciate how he's disrespecting Mark and him. And if he has something that he wants to say to him personally, then he could say it to his face. Otherwise, it's best to just do what you have to do and not worry or try to disrespect Mark or him in his face, because any person who does that is basically like, like if you trying to talk shit while somebody is, not there, and you can't say it to their face, then you're just as weak as, being a coward and running away from a fight, basically. So that's what he said. He said either say it to the person's face or just be a man and shut the fuck up about it. Yeah, I'm telling you, this Clark different, bro. This Clark different. Like, he humble and stuff, and he will always be a nice person, but that's the one thing he does not like. He does not take disrespect kindly. Now, if it's like a civilian, okay, cool, understandable. But like, if it's somebody that and they have, done their best time and time again to just, do what's best for, people, then, and you still try to shit on them, oh yeah, you gonna have something to say about that. So after that, Cecile breaks up the tension by, releasing the Guardians as that happens. And before they go, he says the Lizard League is, on the rise, so just be careful with anything, right? So, after that, Superman flies off because he said that he was going to meet up with Eve, right? He was going to meet up, hit her up, hit her line. Right? My bad, I just burped. So, yeah. Anyway, so he said he had to meet up with somebody, so he flies off, out the basin towards where Eve wanted to meet up with her at. And so, he flies through the city and sees her on like the building where he goes to come clear his mind and just think about everything after a hard long battle, or just like just like a exhausting day. And then that's where he lands in front of her, and it looked like he's walking on air, because that's how controlled he is with that shit. Like that's how controlled he is with it, right? And so he just walks towards her on the air, farming up all this motherfucking aura in front of her, bro. Like, this nigga know what he's doing, bro. He knows what he's doing. He trying to show out for the huzz right now on me. Like, he trying to show out right now. But anyway, he says, I didn't expect you to be at my spot. He was like, but you're welcome anytime. I didn't mean any, like, you can't come here because I don't really own this place. She was like, thanks, Clark. I just need to talk to you about something. And he was like, and that's when he was like, he just sat next to her. He was like, sure, go ahead. What do you want to talk about? He was like, so, she said, so I just, I tried to help people, and, there was this, construction thing going on, and they were taking forever to fix it, so I just fixed it for them. And, I even built like a playground, right? Like a community park, but I didn't know that land was unstable, and, it almost cost lives. And she said that she's really starting to doubt herself as a hero. And then that's when Clark says that, being a hero, isn't going to be easy for anybody. As he said that, when he first started, before he could even fly, he made some mistakes, where he was in Smallville, right? Homage back to Smallville for probably one of the best live TV superhero shows, next to Superman and Lois. Smallville's like top 3, bro. Like, if y'all haven't watched Smallville, y'all need to watch that shit, because, bro, that shit was fire as fuck, fire as fuck, bro. But anyway, he said that, being a hero, you can make mistakes, and, it's okay to make the mistakes. It's about how you can redeem yourself, and, just teach yourself the lessons to not make the mistakes, and, just make better calls overall. He was said, and then he reminded, he told her that one time, when he was back home and being a superhero back at home, he almost, somebody had to, die, and, that he didn't want to, like, he tried to save both of them, but he couldn't save both of them. So he said, even though, he was able to split the evil self from the host body, the human side was still a killer. And, that human side took one of his friends, and, he was like, he said that mistake ate me for, like, years to come, and I pushed everybody away. But after I realized, it wasn't my fault, and, people still do whatever they want to do, I just cope with it and just tried to make the best of the situation and just make better calls overall. So he did some Rico Suave shit as she started crying to, let all her feelings out. And he was like, he grabbed her face softly, with the Kryptonian hands, wiped the tears off. He said, you're doing perfect as a hero. He was like, having these talks and feeling like this is, like a rite of passage to becoming a hero. It's always there are going to be some easy days, but there's going to be some hard days too. And then that's when he said, but what really matters is picking your cape back up and just trying again and just being better than yesterday. He said, I try to be better for you. He said, I always try to be better for myself and you, because, maybe I really do want to just be the perfect hero for everybody and for you. And then that's when he blushed, because he realized what he said, and he was like, he's like, but perfect hero for you as in, like, somebody you may want to look up to. But she kind of hinted at where he was going with that. And that's when she gave him a huge hug. And they both fell off the building, but Clark, caught both of them, as she was, saying that Clark is like the best person that she's ever been friends with. And, she really thanks him for just being here for her all the time, even though he doesn't have to. He was like, trust me, like, I can hear. He said, I can hear you. And, no matter how far away I am, I'll always hear you. And if you need something, I'm always there, okay? And Clark slowly trails off as they begin to lock eyes. And that's when Clark's heat vision begins to activate. Not shoot her, but his eyes, glow red, because, he kind of he on that timing now. And so they, get closer and closer, and that's when you know we're gonna say that's when Clark comes up with an excuse, as he said he has to go see his mom, that he's in the hospital. And that's when he gently puts her down, on like a semi-tall building. He was like just give me a call when you can, okay? And then that's when Eve said, yeah, sure. And that's when Superman blasted off, as Superman's face is like red, and he was like, damn, I probably shouldn't have said that, but this is probably like his first time he ever had a crush, and that was that close to kissing Eve. So he's just trying to figure out his feelings, as Eve feels the same way, but was kind of like a little bit sad, because he wanted her, she wanted him to go for the kiss. And so she, deals with that, and then goes back home, and sees that her family is struggling, financially. And Eve says she can help, but her father doesn't want her to help, which in turn makes her move out and move into the college dorms after that, right? And so after that being, oh shit, we reached an hour. All right, let's do that. So excuse that, but I'm just surprised. But after that, he goes to see how his mom's doing, and it's looking like she's doing better, which is good. And then that's when Clark gets a beep on his wristband that Cecile gave him. And then that's when he speed blitzed to the building without blasting the gust of wind everywhere, because he said that he doesn't want to disturb his mom. So he opened the window and he slowly flies to the sky, saying, Cecile, what's up? What do you need from me? And then that's when Cecile said that Doc Seismic is at it again, and he needs, since Mark is not here and he's currently in space right now, right? He goes to fight Doc Seismic, which leads him to Washington, D.C., as he's trying to make like a super volcano right now. And so for him, they battle, and since he's getting hit by seismic waves, Clark flies back a little. Doc Seismic said that, so you're Invincible's replacement. He was like, I was starting to get tired of him, but at the same time, I do miss him, how he said he's invincible, and yeah, I'm able to hurt him. And then that's when Clark was like, see, me and Invincible are different. I'm more super than invincible. And then he was like, I wanted to see, he said, let's test your superness then, as he, shot like a seismic, shockwave at him underground, right? Which, made like lava spew at him, right? And so, Doc thinking that he eviscerated and made him burn, Clark just shrugs that shit off. He just walks through the lava. He was like, he said, this is pretty warm. He was like, if I could, I really could just take a bath in here, but he said, I'm not gonna do that. And he was like, what are you? And he said, you know who I am. I'm Superman. And then that's when he speed blitzes and punches him in a controlled way, because if he just would have went full power, yeah, he probably would have punched his head off for real. So so after that, he punches him. Doc Seismic feels like he can't beat him, as the only thing that he's really not immune to is like seismic physical attacks. I mean, you have to be really strong to like hurt Superman, right? To be like physically strong, or if you have like sonic attacks that like do physical damage to, like pushback or like a force push damage. Yeah. But yeah, so he goes there, right? He goes there and he realizes that, he won't be able to like, fight him head to head, so he has to use his brains. As that's when he decides to make like an opening, and then lava shoots out, and then that's when Superman was like, oh, so you decided to make a miniature earthquake that could turn it into a volcano, huh? He said, all I have to do is just this. And then that's when he was basically using like that super volcano that he just summoned as a distraction. So for Superman to save the day from potentially, destroying a city with a super volcano active like that. He flew in the volcano and then used his cryogenic beam, his freeze breath to freeze like the base, basically the core, and superly rapidly cool it. So like as the lava's coming out, it's starting to go to like molten rock, and then it slowly just turns into like solid lava that's been there, also known as like, I think it's like metamorphosis or igneous rock. Basically, he was like, and then that's when after he did that, that's when Clark broke out the ground, right? He broke out the ground and then used his heat vision to seal the like open it, like this tear that Doc Seismic did in the ground in the city. And so that's when Clark said, you can't beat old igneous rock, showing his nerd side. Oh my gosh, it's always this truck that comes by, man. Every time I try to record, it's always that damn truck, man. Shit, fuck, man. Anyway, so after he basically saves the city, right? He tries to find Doc, but he escapes. That's what he thinks as Superman uses his super hearing, and he finds him hiding in the sewer, which he basically speed blitz and then captures him. He basically presses a pressure point on his body, making him numb temporarily, and then that's when Superman takes like a metal bar that he found in the alleyway, right? Found a metal bar in the alleyway, and then he tied it around him, and then waited for the GDA to come pick him up. And then that's when Cecile was like, wow, that was pretty quickly. I was like, and then that's when Clark was like, of course. Were you insinuating that I would struggle? He was like, I have struggled before, but still nothing to me. And then that's when Cecilia said, good job. He was like, if I need anything else, I'll call you or the rest of the Guardians. And then that's when Clark said, oh, Cecile, by the way, why didn't you call Immortal Man to do this, or the rest of the Guardians of the Globe? He was like, to be honest, I figured you would be the first one to get there. I was like, you're pretty fast, I was like, and then that's when Clark said, but Immortal Man can fly fast too. He was like, and then that's when Cecile said, let's just say you move with a purpose. And then that's when Clark was like, all right, I'll chalk it up as that. I'll take my leave. He said, I fixed all the damage, helped any other person that needed help. You're good to take it from here. And then that's when Clark blasts off, right? And we fade to black. Now, we're going to say a few days pass by, right? And Superman was, we're going to say Clark was like, since there's no school on the weekend, he did all his classes, staying up on top of his work and studies. He was bored, so he decided to go, fly in space to see what everything is. And this is when Clark meets Alan the alien. As Alan saw the new threads. If we could backtrack, let's say that Clark has an extra spare custom thread suits. The suit that I want him to have is the suit that I put on the pole with the custom threads. That's his suit right now. His other one got burnt since he was in lava, even though it can deal with high temperatures, just like prolonged exposure to high temperatures, right? And its durability is up there, but it's only so much that it could take, so he put on his his other costume, or not his costume, but his other suit that he had. And, he flies into space, just chilling, doing what he usually does. And then that's when he, flies to Venus, seeing how Venus was. He starts coughing because of the, the atmosphere that Venus is made out of. So he flies out of there. And then he just flies back to the moon. And then that's when he sees Alan the alien, as, Alan he said, who are you, as he tried to punch Clark, but Clark dodged it, and then he just grabbed Alan by the chest and then flipped him over and pinned him down, which Alan was like, oh, so you're stronger than most Viltrumites. And then that's when Clark was like, Viltrumites? Wait, are you talking in my head? And then that's when Alan used both of his feet to basically, push him off very far, almost to Earth's atmosphere, right? And then that's when Alan starts flying towards Clark, and they both fly towards each other as they clash fists, making a huge, shock wave in space, which it pushes Clark back a little, and Alan still goes forward, and then Alan tries to, grabs Clark and then throws him towards the Earth, but Clark catches himself, and then that's when Clark says enough, and then that's when he compresses his body and then shoots straight towards Alan as he gets shot and then sent to the moon the next second, as Clark's speed was so surprisingly fast, like he couldn't even register where he was, because next moment he blinks, he sees Clark punch him in the stomach, and then they land into the moon, right? And then that's when Clark started to do the MMA ground and pound, where he had him on the ground and then started punching him over and over as he was like, talk, who are you? He was on his Batman shit, bro. So on some for real shit, he was on his Batman shit. But then that's when Alan caught his fist and then flipped him over and started doing the same thing. And then that's when it was like, why are we even fighting? And then that's when Alan was like, wait, are you using your timeout right now? And then that's when Alan backed off, and he was like, that's when he like stepped back, and he was like, who are you? He was like, I am Earth's defender, as he says that he's a part of the he's one of the major officers for the coalition of planets, as he tries to keep foreign races from taking other planets over without so he basically warns them before it actually happens, right? And he's like, he calls Earth Urath. And then that's when Clark just like face palms. He was like, yes, I'm the protector and watcher of Urath. And then that's when Clark was like, you gotta be fucking with me, man. And that's when he does the hand palm on his face, and he was like, it's called Earth, not Urath. And then he was like, Earth? It's like, but it's oh. He's like, oh. He was like, yeah. He was like, anyway, name's Alan the Alien, officer of the Coalition of Planets. This one's in my, I'm sworn to protect this one and watch over this one. Prevent any, racists taking over. And then that's when Clark was like, so where were you during that Flaxen invasion? He was like, yeah, about that. And I was like, what? And then that's when Clark was like, what about Omni-Man's betrayal? And then that's when he was like, yes, I knew he was a Viltrumite, but I didn't know he would do this. So I will tell the Planet of Coalition about that. And he was like, and what about Mark? Because Mark isn't like Omni-Man. And then that's when he was like, I know, it's such a game changer, right? One of their own being good, which is extremely not, he said, I was going to say rare, but forget it. It's really not, common at all. And he was like, you're a Viltrumite too, aren't you? And then that's when Clark said, no, I'm not a Viltrumite. I'm a Kryptonian. He was like, a Kryptonian? He was like, I heard legends about that. He's like, you probably have. He said, I'm the last surviving kind of mine. But because, since Clark doesn't know, Zod is still out there, and Kara is basically at the edge of the Milky Way and homing in on Earth. He was like, well, since you're protecting this planet instead of Invincible, he was like, you're good in my book. And then that's when they both shake hands. He was like, if you need anything, just let me know. He said, I'll report this back to the Coalition of Planets Council to see where we could go from there. And then that's when Superman said, okay, well, have a good trip, be safe, and I'll leave you to it. And, after that, Superman, floats off and then flies into deep space, trying to find, basically, as he was like, flying off to space, he realized that, yeah, he likes Eve and he wants to do something special. So he's gonna try to venture out and find like a flower that he read on the Kryptonian, that he read on like, the knowledge of Kryptonians and how they basically have infinite knowledge or damn near knowledge of everything. So he read on, that there's a certain distant planet, we're gonna call it X319, right? And it has abundance of life on it. But there's a plant there, a special flower there that is called a phoenix flower, right? Well, that's what they call it. They call it a phoenix flower. The Kryptonians do. As it's basically a flower that never dies, and it changes color for example, when it's red, it'll die and then it'll regrow and blossom into like a different color. So it's like a multicolored, flower that he wanted to get Eve, right? And so he ventures out to doing that, right? And so as he ventures out to doing that, right, we're gonna flash back to where Mark is currently at, which is Thraxa, as he says that what is it? He's basically reconciling with Omni-Man about everything that happened, and he's just really upset with Omni-Man that he found out that Omni-Man has a kid there, and he's like the emperor there or the new leader there. And so Omni-Man explains to him what happened and the whole backstory and how he just flew for Lord knows how many weeks trying to find a black hole to throw himself in, but then he saved the dying ship and potential casualties of that ship. The the ants were in, the bugs. The Thraxans? I would say the Thraxans, yeah. The Thraxans that were in. Yeah, and so doing that, they made him the leader. And now, what is it? And now, Mark has a brother now, or half brother. Well, brother, yeah. And so, after that, Omni-Man tells him, prepare to fight, because there's more than likely going to be Viltrumites that come after him after abandoning his mission and changing. So they pull up, everything pretty much goes to canon there, with one of the Clark gets taken down, right? Clark's get taken down, but before we get to, not Clark, why did I say Clark, my bad, Mark gets taken down. But before that, we're going to talk about the events after after Alan the alien. We're going to flash back to Alan, right? So Alan basically tells him what's going on and how there's a Viltrumite and a Kryptonian protecting Earth, which is news to Thaddeus, as he's basically an undercover Viltrumite. I think everybody knows that. If not, my bad for spoiling that shit. But the show's been out for like almost a year now. I think like a year and a half, and the comic's been out. So if you didn't know this, you're kind of fucking up. But yeah. So after that, he basically finds that out, and that's when Thaddeus states that Kryptonians were, one specific Kryptonian was a part of the council. His name was Jor-El, right? You see how that correlates. But Jor-El left due to taking care of his planet first and having to tie up loose ends. And so Thaddeus knows about Jor-El. Thaddeus knows about Zod too, and how Zod is still trapped in the Phantom Zone for now, right? Because in season 3, this shit is going to get fucking crazy, bro. This shit is going to get crazy. You think season 2 is going to be crazy? Oh no, just wait, bro. Just wait till season 3, bro. I already got that shit planned out, right? So, he basically tells them the long story short about Jor-El and Zod, and how Zod, betrayed the people, and it was he didn't know that Jor-El sent a Kryptonian to Earth, right? But Thaddeus doesn't know that was his son, right? So he tells Alan the alien that they could use this as a whole in the Viltrumites empire to keep them at bay, or maybe defeat them once and for all. And so after that, after the meeting is adjourned, Thaddeus tells Alan to, there might be a spy or a secret, basically like a mole on the council, and he needs to figure out who it was. So that's when Alan says Roger, and everything goes according to the plan. But that's when Viltrumites break into the ships with that girl with the long hair. Basically, the three Viltrumites that's currently beating the shit out of Mark, right? So after that, right? After that happens, right? What is it? After that happens, they basically, destroy Alan, which Alan doesn't give up any information, and Alan survives the beating. But as he's going, into as he's like being healed and his injuries are getting taken care of, Thaddeus, turns off the machine, see, as it's like he's the one that's being as if he's the one that's being he's the one that was the mole the whole time. But he didn't turn it off, which was a fatal mistake. So Alan is slowly healing since Thaddeus didn't turn off the thing all the way, right? So since he didn't turn it off, Alan was still slowly recovering. And after Thaddeus walks out the room, we zoom into Alan's pod as his hand starts to twitch, knowing that he's still alive and healing. So after that, we fade to black, and we come back to Thraxa as basically the planet is getting is demolished. They had a hard, long fought battle, and General Keg, I think that's his name. General Keg, kicks Invincible and then punches him in the face, saying that prepare your world for an invasion. Kill a few humans to get the planet ready, because if he doesn't do it, and he finds that his planet is still still resistant, then they'll kill millions to get that planet. And then he said, unlock your father and yourself. We don't change. Our mind is already made up. And so with that, General Keg leaves and takes Omni-Man, and that's when Mark goes for about a good 2 months, staying there, healing up, and helping rebuild the Thraxa planet. And so after that they build him a ship, and the mother of Oliver basically says that she should take him with him, because they age so quickly, and by the time he grows up, she'll be long gone. And so Mark was reluctant, but he saw him and he was like, that's my brother. And so that's when he takes Oliver on the ship, and they head back to Earth, right? And so with that being said, 2 months has passed, as in canon. As that happens, he returns to Earth. Debbie meets the new baby, and although she's not sure about it, at the same time, she sees him no less and welcomes him into the family. As that was being said, Donald confronts Cecile about his resurrection, as Cecile reveals that he's died over 10 times basically, and each time he is brought back, before he gets brought back, Donald himself says to erase his memory. And so with that being said, as that happens, Cecile gets an alert that a unidentified object is flying into Earth's atmosphere, right? And so y'all should know that's it's the Martian ship, right? It's the Martian ship, the quote-unquote Martian ship, but it's really the sequence that taking over it's the sequence that taken over, as they're plotting on taking it over the Earth, right? So they come, right? And as they come, that's when Supergirl, we flash back to where Supergirl, aka Kara, is at, right? Once Kara absorbs all the energy from that ship, right, she breaks out the ship and says that Kal-El, she's coming towards him. She's coming for him in like a hopeful manner, not like trying to, I'm gonna kill you type shit. But after that, After that, she flies towards she flies towards Earth at like blinding speed because she's fast as fuck, man. Like she's really fast as shit. So she flies, and then that's when she's temporarily gonna take the place of Clark, since Clark's really trying really hard to find this flower for Eve, right? So she flies, and wonders, is this the planet that she was that Jarrell, her uncle, sent Clark to, right? And so as that happens, the Guardians are lined up, and they say that when she appears, the ship has already landed, right? So she comes right when the ship crash lands, and the invasion begins, right? And so as the invasion is taking place, they deal with the significant loss, right? The Guardians of the Globe deals with the significant loss. So Shrinking Ray is, almost clapped, right? She almost gets clapped, but it was because Kara saved her. So Kara saved her, right? Kara saved her because at the same time, right? As the Sequid invasion is going on, the the Lizard League, not the, I think, is it the Lizard League? Yeah, I'm tripping. It is the Lizard League. I was right. So the OG Lizard League leader returns, and he's back with vengeance, and he basically was clapping the shit out of Guardians of the Globe. I'm not even gonna hold you, like, bro, it was a fucking massacre. But since Kara is there, and she sees that the heroes are protecting the people of this world, she decides to help them, so they're not going out as sad as they originally would be going out as sad as, right? So as that happens, right? Shrinking Ray only lost an arm because he was about to get swallowed by the Komodo dragon, which that doesn't make any sense. Like, if your power is to shrink and grow big, why didn't you make any attempt to return to normal size? That does not make sense at all. That does not make any goddamn sense at all. Why did you not attempt to return to normal size, bro? That shit is weird. But I'm not the creator of the story, right? I just do my what ifs, right? And so they're fighting their best, and Duplicate seemingly is killed, but she already has a clone, like, let's just say all across the world in the Arctic somewhere, right? And so after that Rexplode is actually seriously injured, with him getting shot in the head and somehow miraculously surviving that shit. And after that, she, after the hard fought battle, she says, "Where is Kal-El?" And then that's when the news story was saying, where is Superboy? And she saw the House of L symbol on his chest, and that's when she was like, Cal is here? And then that's when she looks at the screen of him doing superhero shit, fighting a Viltrumite and stuff. And then that's when she was like, so he's here, I just have to find him. And then that's when the Guardians was like, just help us, just stay here real quick, you help. And then that's when she said, my purpose is bigger than helping you guys. I need to find somebody. He's like, hopefully I was able to provide any assistance, but I have to go. And then that's when she blasts off, flying around the world to see if she can find him, right? And so after that, she flies off into the sunset, and then we pan up into space where, Alan recovers from his injuries and being, adapted to everything, and basically being as strong as a Viltrumite, right? And after he recovers, he feels the strength to come over him. That's when Thaddeus reveals to himself that he's a Viltrumite rebel, and he asks Alan to, recruit Mark into their cause. And that's when Alan smiles. And then that's when Alan smiles, right? And then after that, we fade to black, which Superman, we fade to black with the credits rolling and a post-credit scene with Superman finding the flower and holding it, and it's like this special case. And then that's when he feels like he done a pretty good job after like fighting after fighting like plenty of animals and beasts that have like blue kryptonite properties, with him standing over like bodies of beaten beasts and beastmen that have like kryptonite, blue kryptonite properties, right? So I'm gonna say in this universe, blue kryptonite is the thing that could take away his powers permanently if exposed long enough, or if the blue kryptonite enters his bloodstream, or like a piece of it gets lodged, right? So we're gonna use the Smallville canon for that. So after that, right? After that, he flies off into, he begins to float, and then that's where we are going to leave this what off, flying back to Earth, and what awaits Superman. So it's gonna take he's gonna take his little time getting there, not too slow, but just quick enough for him to get back to the Earth, right? And as he's flying, he as he's flying, he's just reminiscing about what Eve said and how they really hang out. And now he's starting to notice all the signs that Eve was fucking with him and she want him. And so we're gonna build up to that, right? We're gonna build up to that. Okay. So after that, he said that maybe he should stop being so reserved and actually take a chance. So once he gets back, he's gonna take a chance, but things are gonna get busy, so he might have to wait on that. But that's where I'm gonna be leaving this 1 hour special off right here. I thank y'all so much. I know it's kind of light. I compressed a lot of that shit together. So we're going to say this is part 1 and 2, maybe? I don't know. Fuck it. We just leave it at part 1, bro. We're just going to leave it at part 1. That's going to be me doing too much. So I hope y'all enjoy this what if, man. I had to yap for like an hour, bro. I made so many edits and cuts because my throat got dry, and I started yawning because I was tired. So I just took a nap and just, powered that shit through and finished it off, man. I appreciate every single one of y'all, man. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and turn on them post notifications because I'm always active on this bitch. And, if you do comment, leave a comment, man. I always respond. I always give feedback. I'm not one of those Hollywood ass people that, get like 100 subscribers and think they, they too good for shit, man. It don't matter if we reach 10K, 20, 30, 40, 50, even 100, or even 100 subs, like even 1,000 to, because my dream is to like, at least get past 10K. If I get to 10K overall doing what ifs, I will be happy with life, right? I'll be happy. I'm trying to be like the next Zether, or Golden What Ifs, or what is that one weeb. What, he's the one that really inspired me to do what ifs. So go ahead and shout him out. Shout out Zether. Shout out to Golden What Ifs, and shout out to Rogue X along with Izukage that inspired me to start doing what ifs and shit. Cause yeah, I'm tired of this AI shit taking over, man. I'm tired of it. And these text what if stories, man. Use your voice like me. But enough with that, rambling on and yapping that I was just doing, that tangent. But like, I appreciate y'all, bro. Like, I'm not a Hollywood person. So, I'm humble. I love interacting with all y'all. I love the ideas that you give me, to make the story better. So everybody gets a piece of what they want. And, and if, I feel like it's too much, I'll still try to find a way to, put that in there. But, I appreciate y'all for all the love and support. We almost at 100 subs. If we do 100 subs, I might drop like a fucking one-shot movie of y'all choice. Whatever y'all want me to do for 100 subs. But let's keep it so straight. Let's be real. just try not to do something too crazy, man. Like, if you want me to do like a one shot what if with high school DxD, like a whole fucking movie, like just going straight pound for pound for shit, man, I will do that. I will do that. So I'm gonna put a poll up for like 100 subs when we reach it, like 100 sub milestone. What y'all want me to do? If y'all want me to like do like a 24-hour stream on a weekend or something like that, where y'all just interact and chat with your boy, man. Like, bro, like, I'm a person, man. Y'all can talk to me. And when I do go live, y'all better start responding, man. Y'all better start texting like y'all be responding in them comments, man. Like y'all don't understand. Like, if y'all interact with me and we start talking about this Invincible stuff and what ifs and all this other stuff, bro, like I could legit like do a live what if on basically what would happen or what would happen or what would happen, what should we do and what we shouldn't do, and just like incorporate y'all ideas in it and give y'all credit. Like, one of my subscribers, actually damn near planned the whole shit out, and I'm like, shit. So shout out to you, man. Like, bro, like you really go for that. Like, I had a plan, but you incorporating it, since I'm guessing, and I probably know that you're more knowledgeable in the Invincible universe. Like, this is my first time, and for my first time, I'm surprised I'm not fucking this shit up. I'm surprised I'm not fucking this shit up, but yeah, man, I appreciate all y'all for real, man. Like, I appreciate all my subscribers, bro. Like, y'all some day one motherfuckers for real, man. And yeah, I just hope y'all enjoy this what if. Like I said, comment, like, subscribe, watch my other what ifs. I will be bringing Maury X High School DxD back. And since I'm not getting copyrighted and copy strike no more, I will bring back those pictures that I used to add in my what ifs. The only reason why I stopped is because I was legit getting copyrighted for the images. But now that I figure out a way to get past it, I'm bringing that shit back. So these high quality what ifs are coming back. And they were high quality before, but I feel like I could have done better. And, the picture shit that I was doing was really my thing, even though it was really time consuming. It still was my thing, so I'm bringing that back. So the next Invincible or next what if I will be like showing pictures of everything, so it gives y'all more of an immersive, detail into it, so y'all don't just got to use our imagination. But this is Redux What If signing off. I appreciate y'all for all the love and support. Get me to 100 subs, man. And like, that's probably like the best birthday gift I could get. Like, at least 100 to 110. Like, 200 is like a stretch. I'm not gonna ask y'all for that, bro. Like, that's like, I feel like that's like legit an arm and a leg. But other than that, I really appreciate y'all for all the love and support, man. And I will be posting some more art for the Invincible, for Superman X Invincible. I will be posting some more thumbnails and images about it, so y'all just stay tuned. I hope y'all gonna enjoy this season 2. I hope this hour special season 2 started off with a bang, and I'm just gonna try to keep that momentum. So I appreciate y'all for all the love and support. Next time we gonna pick up with Superman returning to Earth and Kara fighting Anissa after she helps Mark, So we're going to get some Mark action, some Kara action, some Eve and X Clark action, and we just going to get it all around building up to the season finale, because I have something special, bro. Like, you don't understand. I have something special cooking up for when Mark and Clark get sent to different realities, bro. I got something special cooking up for that. But I appreciate y'all for all the love and support, man. This is Redux What If signing off, and peace.